Episode 25 this week, The Alternative Factor. Apparently still season 1. I thought I was done with season 1. Apparently not. There's a couple more. The Alternative Factor. One of the dirt worst. One of the very dirt worst. Some call it the worst episode of the original series. I don't go that far. There's one or two worse than that. But it's in the top 10 worst of all Star Trek series ever. Bottom 10 for sure. It was terrible. Essentially, the Enterprise runs into some cosmic winking out, as Spock says. They're in and out of existence, he says. Whatever that's supposed to mean. Starfleet reports that it happened in every corner of the cosmos and beyond. I don't know how they detected that, but apparently they did. So this Commodore orders Kirk to find out what's happening. He expects an invasion. From whom? Why? He doesn't know. But he's like, it's got to be an invasion. Kirk's like, yeah, it is. Can I get some more starships to help out? And he's like, no. No, we're going to run and hide. You handle it, he said. Run and hide. Well, Kirk handles it. That's what Starfleet was going to do. Kirk's like, well, okay. They go down to the planet, and they find a guy. His name was Lazarus. And he fell off a mountain, but he was fine. And he says there's like some other humanoid out there that's really a monster, and he's the one causing all the cosmic winking in and out. It's this monster, he says. They don't believe him. Spock outright calls him a liar. And then later on he falls off a mountain again after he stole some dilithium crystals. It was kind of odd. He kept falling off mountains and he kept being fine. But McCoy told Kirk he had this wound on his head that he treated. He bandaged it. Went back into the room a moment later. Wound was healed. Then it was back again. Kirk thought it was a practical joke. He kept saying he had a comical doctor. If he had time, he'd laugh. And McCoy kept saying, no, it really happened. Ha ha, Kirk said. Then they go down to the planet where Lazarus' really cheaply and poorly made spaceship sat. It looked like they spent $20 making the prop. So like $65 modern money. If you can imagine that being the budget for a spaceship on a major network show. Kirk went through this time portal apparently. Apparently they were time travelers from an alternate dimension. One antimatter, one matter. So they blow up and destroy everything if they met outside of this weird, like, purgatory of space and time, apparently. Kirk went through, found the other dimension Lazarus. He was like, yeah, we gotta, like, blow up our spaceships. I'll get them in the purgatory, and then I'll hold them there for all of eternity. And Kirk was like, but you'll be trapped. He's like, it's alright. Oh, Kirk goes back to the planet, grabs Lazarus, throws him into the purgatory, goes back up to the ship, waits a very uncomfortable and long time, and then fires his phasers, destroys the spaceship. Lazarus is trapped fighting himself or a duplicate or something. It was unclear, completely unclear what really was going on. It was strange, very strange. No invasion apparently, unless you count Lazarus. And Kirk was trying to say he was a small-scale invasion just to make the Commodore not look bad. Some interesting notes in this one. It was the dirt worst. The absolute dirt worst. It was terrible. Garbage. It makes garbage seem like not bad enough to describe it. Sadly, there's one or two worse than this one. Although some would say it's the worst. Also, no Mr. Scott in this episode, but there was a brand new chief engineer, Lieutenant Masters. She would be in a few episodes, This was the first time she appeared, and she was in a science uniform. Not the traditional red for engineering. She wore a science uniform, which made no sense. But she was in charge of engineering. Got attacked. Lazarus knocked her out with some type of shot. They never really explained what happened to her. We didn't see her after that. No Mr. Sulu in this one. It was Mr. Leslie, who would be in a handful of episodes. He was the helmsman of the week. There was a navigator of the week. So a lot of the primary cast missing. McCoy's role was somewhat limited. But other than that, yeah, not the strongest work. But pretty much episode 25